All right, and 365 days of horsemanship, day 138. So it's actually day 141 now. I am in Myszkówska in Poland. For those of you who are interested, about 40 minutes outside of Katowice. So yeah, and today is the last day of the clinic, and it's been such an incredible, hectic, crazy, busy, wonderful experience that I just haven't felt like I've had time to slow down and catch up on my videos. And so I'm trying to make the effort today. I have about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I thought I'd just sit down with you guys and try to make a start on day one. And if I just, maybe I'll just show you here how many pages of notes I have from the last 3 days. And I was just flicking through them and thinking, how am I gonna explain, how am I gonna talk? What I will say is I'm so happy that I've come again. I'm so happy that, I think, you know, when you don't know something, you don't know what you don't know, and you could have sort of can't imagine when you'll know it. And yeah, and it just doesn't seem to matter how much I've already learned. Like, I always seem to just come back and learn more and more and reinforce. And I think I'm getting into the place now with some of the techniques of freedom-based training where I'm beginning to train it like driving a car, where it goes from being something that you do, that you have to think about everything, to where some parts of it are now becoming like sort of starting to get into unconscious competence, where I can do it like sort of without thinking, or know what to do like really quickly, like a reflex. And so I thought today what I would do, because I have so many notes, is I would just kind of pick up on a few little bits and pieces as I'm going through that really highlight things to me. I think Elsa says this in the introduction of every clinic she does now, and I know this because I've been to 3 this year. She says she likes the aspect of the concept of freedom-based training, because if you're free, you can do whatever you want. But if you're trained, then I can count on you to do whatever I want you to do. And so freedom-based training is like a contradiction. And I think I also really like that as well. I think it's like the idealistic end result of having to deal with life not being ideal in the most comfortable and the most free way that you possibly can. And I really just love that idea of sort of combining ideas in balance. I think I try not to make compromises for myself, and it can make life quite difficult sometimes because I don't want to accept anything that's any less than the best it could possibly be. And I think for me, that's why I'm so attracted to freedom-based training, because for me, it feels like I'm not having to make any compromises. I can allow a massive amount of like personal freedom to the horse as much as possible, while also creating a horse who is safe for me and for them, and is capable of coping with life's problems, and that we can then kind of build on that in order to have fun. I think the next thing that I wrote that was really powerful is before we change the horse. I'm kind of reading verbatim. We'll see how this video plays out. Before we change them, we have to understand them. If the horse does not think that you understand them, they'll keep fighting you. But if they do, then they will solve life's problems with you. And I think this is really the magic of freedom-based training. I think that freedom-based training for me encompasses all the things that you got to do in order to get to where the horse will do what you want them to do willingly and happily. And there are 2 pathways to get there. And that's not to say that dominant training is wrong. I think it's also really important that your horse improves its own feel and timing with dominant training, and that it feels that dominant training is okay in some ways, because ultimately life is pretty dominant with us sometimes. But I think what I really like is this idea that if you can understand the horse, this I think that, you know, it's a huge amount, like, you know, on a spectrum, it's like this much is like convincing the horse that you understand them. And that you can't compromise on that. You can't try to make that go faster. You can't try to, convince the horse you have good ideas too soon. You've just got to understand them. You've just got to invest those hours and hours, as long as it takes, to prove to the horse, to earn the horse's trust. You got to earn the horse's trust. Then after that, once they feel that you understand them, then you can start to influence them. And this is, compared to this, this is feels to me if you do this right and for long enough, then the amount that you need to influence them about any one particular issue is so tiny, because you've already done all of the prior preparation to get them to this point where when you ask them the question, or you can influence them, then they immediately look to you for that support. And this solving of life problems is what Elsa would call curiosity. And it's quite tiring. And so you got to train it, like a muscle. And that's what freedom-based training is. You react using scan and capture. For those of you who have a little other sort of animal training lingo experience, you're waiting for a naturally occurring positive moment of curiosity where stress is going up or down to a point of curiosity. And then you reward that with harmony, because that's what horses want. They want that safety. And if you can train them to be curious about things, they will feel more safe to be curious about more things, and they'll associate that with you. You can then take them round all these different places. They'll take you to begin with. And I think that's where Lawrence is now. Lawrence is in the showing you phase. And I think that Elsa talked about this as well, although she may have talked about it on the second day, where initially the horse is just going through the natural cycles of concern and curiosity. And you're in this very sort of, their curiosity about you is not very strong. And after some time, if you associate yourself every single time with being curious, it doesn't even need to be every single time, just, if you consistently associate yourself with curiosity, they will associate you with curiosity, and they will think that you have caused them to feel better, because you feel better when you're curious. And once they feel that they feel better when you're around, and they're curious when you're around, they'll start to be curious about more things around you, and they'll take you around and they'll show you everything. Oh, let me show you this. Let me show you this. I'm curious about this. I'm curious about this. And I think this is where Lawrence is at the moment with his scratching. I think there's a lot of concern, but I think my timing's just not been very good. Where he's been moving around me while I've been scratching him, that's in the same way that if the horse moves you, if you're in flow with them and you're at their right hip and they move too fast for you to stay at their right hip and they change your position, you stayed there too long and they've moved you, because you're then not choosing the distance. And that's the same thing that's happening with Lawrence. He's showing me now all of his concerns. I have associated myself with good feelings and curiosity enough that now he's like, well, let me show you this, and let me show you this, and let me show you this, because he's curious about his problems, because he thinks I might be able to help him with them. But every time I'm staying too long, I'm not understanding him and I'm pushing him into concern. So I need to improve my timing to help him feel less concerned about his problems, because at the moment I'm just being concerned with him, which isn't really helping. I'm definitely withdrawing money from the bank account, but that's okay. Money comes and goes. You can always make more. And I'm really pleased as well, because I feel like it really shows a progression. I feel like we're in stage 2 now, where he's showing me everything. I've put in enough hours that I've earned some curiosity, and now he's kind of trying to spend it with me, and I'm being a little frivolous with it and not continuing to promote curiosity because I'm staying too long. And I think that's part of my own, it's such a journey, I think, for me anyway, with freedom-based training, it's such a journey of combating my own mental limitations and obstacles, because I think when I reflect on why I'm doing that, it becomes very obvious to me that that's also how I deal with my own life, where I want to like stay too long because I want it to be as good as possible. Like I want to help him. I'm so desperate to help him that I'll give him too much of something before I then leave, or I won't even leave at all and I'll make him move me. But that's not really being a good leader. That's just being a follower. So I'm sort of teaching him to lead me. And I don't, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that concern's not going to be good for our relationship. It's not going to be good for him trusting me that I can make good choices. And that definitely, I think the consolidation of that knowledge on day one was really helpful. I've done one page, there is so much else that I want to talk about. I'm going to definitely have to do a blog. I have another blog that I need to do from the New Forest still. And I got to get them done because they're running away with me. So many notes. And I could really talk all day, but I can see I've already done 11 and a half minutes. And I think that that's maybe a good introduction. I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to talk about it some more. For now, I'm going to get myself packed up and get ready to go. Super excited for the last day. Since then, it's just been every day, like growing and understanding more and more and just really refining all the different pieces and learning where to be and when to be and how to be. And freedom-based training, I think, really is a training of feel and timing. And I think I'm getting a much better understanding now of how to be in each leadership category, what that looks like, when to choose them and why I might choose them. Which is basically helping me to be a better leader. And I think it's important to feel comfortable everywhere on the spectrum. I think you can have your favorite places, and certainly, with the horses, it's fun. Like, it's fun to be lower down on the spectrum. And that's the place I really want to learn about more. And I'm really happy to be here and doing that.